Have you ever wondered why it's hot in summer and cold in winter? Or why it's winter in Argentina when it's summer in the United States? Today's video will reveal the reason for the seasons. Be sure to listen for the question of the day so you can leave your answer in the comments. For the Love of Language and Writing presents Astronomy, the Seasons, Intermediate Level. There are significant variations in the heat that the Earth receives from the Sun during the course of the year. We use this change in the amount of sunlight to divide the year into seasons. The difference between the seasons gets more distinct the farther from the equator we go, and the northern and southern hemispheres experience opposing seasons. Many people think that the change in seasons is related to the change in distance between the Earth and the Sun, but this is actually incorrect. This distance doesn't change much as the Earth travels along its orbit, and this wouldn't explain why the hemispheres have opposite seasons. The real reason we have seasons is because of the tilt of the Earth's axis. In June, the northern hemisphere leans into the Sun and receives more light. In December, the situation is reversed. The southern hemisphere leans into the Sun, while the northern hemisphere leans away. In March and September, the Earth leans sideways, so the hemispheres receive equal amounts of sunlight. There are two effects responsible for the increase in temperature when the Earth tilts toward the Sun. When we lean into the Sun, the light hits us more directly and is better able to heat the Earth's surface. The same happens when you shine a flashlight on a wall. Shining the light directly on the wall creates an intense spot of light, but if you hold the flashlight at an angle, the spot of light is more spread out. Similarly, in June, the sunlight hits the northern hemisphere more directly, which is why this part of the Earth is hotter at this time of year. The second effect responsible for increased heating is the amount of time the Sun spends above the horizon. When the Sun is above the horizon for more hours in the day, there is more time for the light to heat the Earth. The opposite happens in the southern hemisphere. It leans away from the Sun in June, so the sunlight is less direct, and the Sun spends less time above the horizon. Thus, the temperature is lower at this time of year. Around June 21st, which is known as the summer solstice and is sometimes the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere, the Sun shines most directly on the northern half of the Earth. It appears about 23 degrees north of the equator and is directly overhead at noon at this latitude, which is known as the Tropic of Cancer. Additionally, the North Pole is continuously illuminated by the Sun at this time of year. All places within 23 degrees, which is known as the Arctic Circle, have sunshine for 24 hours. The Sun is as far north as it can get. Many early cultures scheduled special events around the summer solstice to celebrate the longest days and thank their gods for making the weather warm. However, the opposite is true on June 21st for places within 23 degrees of the South Pole. The area in what is called the Antarctic Circle doesn't see the Sun for 24 hours. The situation reverses on December 21st, which is known as the winter solstice and the first day of winter in the northern hemisphere. On this date, the Sun is directly overhead at noon at the latitude of 23 degrees south, which is called the Tropic of Capricorn. During this time, days are longer in the southern hemisphere, where it is summer, and shorter in the northern hemisphere, where it is winter. Many cultures also created celebrations around December 21st. In the Northern Hemisphere, where the days are much shorter, this became a time to gather with family and friends and perform rituals to ask the gods to return the heat and the light of the summer. Some cultures even constructed devices to help them determine when the shortest day of the year was coming. And it's possible that Stonehenge in England served this purpose. Many modern celebrations continue with the tradition by celebrating holidays around the winter solstice. And now it's time for our question of the day. What is your favorite season and why? Practice your English by leaving a comment below. If you find this video helpful, give it a like so it can reach more people like you who are working hard to improve their English. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you can be notified of new videos when they come out. Now, back to the video. On both March 21st and September 21st, the sun appears above the Earth's equator, and both hemispheres receive about 12 hours of sunlight and darkness. These days are known as the vernal, spring, and autumnal, fall equinoxes. The seasons don't change much near the equator because there are about 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness every day of the year. People who live in the surrounding areas define the seasons by the amount of rainfall they receive, categorizing the seasons as wet and dry. However, the closer one gets to the North or South Pole, the more extreme the seasons become. At the North Pole, the sun always appears above the horizon from March 21st to September 21st. The sun rises on the vernal equinox and sets on the autumnal equinox. The opposite is true at the South Pole. Accordingly, there are 6 months of sunshine at each pole, followed by 6 months of darkness. This article has been adapted from The Seasons in Astronomy by Andrew Fracknoy, David Morrison, and Sydney C. Wolfe, published by OpenStax in 2016. Access it for free at the link in the description. To download a free worksheet for this article, please visit lovelangrai.com. To get this audio and worksheets for all levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and TOEFL, please visit the Patreon page at patreon.com/lovelangrai. Thank you for watching, and happy language learning.